And it is 9 o'clock. Wednesday, August 14th, AD 2024. I remembered to start the stream. What a mess. I'm live on YouTube, Rumble. I will take your calls, guys. What are we going to cover today? We will cover, I saw a tip from a super chatter over on the D Live crew on the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Said that this guy got arrested for a meme, a German guy with the AFD, Alternative for Germany, supposedly far right or something like that. And he was detained anyway. So interesting. And that's happening in America, in Germany, in UK. It's a mess. And the liberals hate the freedom of speech, especially the freedom to tell the truth. I heard that Elon Musk and who's that? They're liberals themselves. That gal who wrote the Harry Potter books, she is being sued along with Elon Musk by that boxer supposed lady, female boxing winner. Terrible. There was something else. I wanted to talk about the storms. You guys say that the storms... Oh, I never got to the Brits of color versus the far right, quote unquote, in the UK. A little Washington compost story. But the storms weren't always named after men. So, two of you people have told me that these tropical storms are named after men and hurricanes are named after women. Where did you get this? I have not found it on the internet at this point, but maybe it is on the internet, or maybe it's an old wives' tale, just to say, oh, tropical storms are, men, because they're calmer, but hurricanes are women, because they're wilder and angrier. I don't know. But anyway, I do see some of the lines look to be lighting up, guys. A shout out to you. Let me open up my stuff, guys. By the way, I'm wearing a All Thoughts Are All Lies All the Time t-shirt. I'm skipping ahead a little bit. You can get yours by going to teespring.com. No, not Teespring. Going to the Jesse Lee Peterson Printify, Jesse Lee Peterson Printify, and you can find that by going to, what is it? To rebuildingtheman.com/stores. Rebuildingtheman.com/stores. Okay? And we're going to have a fun, loosey-goosey, The Hake Report show, guys. I'm pumped. Are you pumped? We're going to get pumped. So, anyway, guys, let's just get right on. Oh, and you can play the song for me? Okay. With the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. I am, like I said, wearing my All Thoughts Are All Lies All the Time t-shirt. Beautiful shot, says Greenwald. Thank you, man. I was proud of it myself. That was from Christmas Eve or so, 2023. A nice little scene from Mount Baldy if you guys were watching the video feed. Very cool. Yeah, so rebuildingtheman.com/stores for JLP's related t-shirts, which I'm wearing a size large. It almost looks okay on me, right? I mean, it probably even looks better than a medium in some ways. Anyway. Maybe I grow into it. The lines of smoking. There is one line open. I would like to start off with a call or two, guys. Just appreciation for you guys. I know a lot of you like me to get to these stories, so I will do my best, okay? But Rob, a first-time caller in New York, is on the line here. Rob, are you there? Can you hear me?
James, I could hear you. Could you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Thank you.
Okay, my point was, first of all, Joe in Phoenix, I agree with a lot of the things he says. And also Mark in L.A., I agree with a lot of the things he says. But a couple of things I heard in the last month or two, I think you may have even said it, that there's some aspects of slavery that were okay, that were not evil. And I have to, if that's true, that anybody ever said that, I have to completely disagree. I think everything about slavery is evil. Taking over, basically taking someone prisoner and holding them against their will. Am I wrong on that?
You might be wrong, because some of them accepted being slaves. That you do take people. That is oftentimes how slavery happens. They're held against their will. They're taken captive, and then become slaves. Some are sold into slavery. Some become like indentured servants, which is like they're slaves for 7 years, basically, or whatever. But yeah, they are held against their will. I guess that's fair to say.
And you know, and to counteract Joe from Phoenix, you know, America is not unique in slavery. For thousands of years, ever since there's been men on Earth, different groups have been taking other groups as slaves, and every single country has been won through conquest and rape and pillaging. And we're one of the few countries who've actually, you know, eliminated that and improved. So the left wing, when they bring that up, America through conquest, the whole world has been conquested. There's not one single nation that arose without bloodshed.
Yeah.
So those were my thoughts for today.
That's fair. Don't you think, though? Well, that's a leading question. I have said that slavery wasn't always that bad because partly it depends on how the slave master treats the slave. That aspect of it can be good or bad.
Yeah, but the problem is when it's allowed by law. I mean, you could do that in a voluntary system. Like, you know, today, if someone wants to be a slave, they could go be a slave. But I don't
think they can be a slave in America.
If you want to, if I wanted to go up to someone and say, "Listen, I'm your slave. You don't have to pay me. I'm gonna, you know, you could put me in chains." Yeah, I could do that voluntarily.
You might be right.
You know,
I don't know though. I don't know because they tend to kind of get involved. There's things called minimum wage and things like that, where if you become an employee, by law you're not even allowed to pay them 2 cents an hour or $1 an hour.
That's interesting. I'm pretty sure you can work for free if you wanted to, but that's an interesting question.
Yeah. I think that you're right. You just, as long as you don't involve the authorities or no outside meddler tries to, get in and impose on your business. You know, by what I mean by meddlers, people who like report you. Oh, you have a slave in there, and the slave's like, I'd like to be here. So yeah, interesting. If it's off,
you have time for one more question?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. A few weeks ago, there was a conversation about parents who make their kids say please and thank you. I forgot about what your opinion was on that. But as a father of a young boy, I do believe that parents should guide their kids to be polite and say please and thank you. and I don't want to necessarily by force, but without a little guidance, I think it's not necessarily the natural course of action to take that polite route.
Right.
So I don't think there's anything wrong with, in other words, if I'm somewhere with my son and he, doesn't act polite, I'm going to pull him aside and say, listen, go and apologize, or next time say this the right way, the proper way. So that, that was my point on that.
It's fair. It's fair. It's just that the problem is that a lot of the times politeness is fake. It's forced. It's not genuine, and then you have fake, forced, non-genuine people.
That's true. You do not want that.
Yeah. But it is good to, it's good to set an example a little bit. But a lot of times, especially women, go overboard with this stuff. And fathers sometimes can too. They will, I once heard this father whose son was frustrated, exasperated, and the father's like quoting the Bible at his son. I'm like kind of rolling my eyes as I witnessed this. I didn't say anything at the time. I don't know if I should have or not, but it came off just so out of place. And
that's out of place. And I wouldn't have said anything either, because it's not your place to judge or say anything.
Right. Yeah. Because you don't want to be one of those meddlers who,
exactly.
Because maybe the kid is not feeling the way that I'm feeling hearing that. So, and anyway, it's an interesting question.
Hey, James, I got to run, but I love your show, and I will be calling back again.
It's great hearing from you. Thank you for calling. Appreciate you, Rob.
Everybody have a good day.
Nice. You as well. Rob in New York. Very nice. Manuel, I got to get to Manuel in California on the line here. Manuel, how are you doing, man? Thanks for calling and holding.
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well as well. Thank you.
Oh, well, my bad. Dang, I always forget that.
If you're doing good in the world, then you can say I'm doing good, although that's not the question that I was asking. I was like, how are you doing? I'm not like, what are you doing?
Dang, old Geraldo called in to Jesse's show to be a little snake to set you up.
Yeah, by Geraldo, you mean Galahad.
Yeah.
That's funny. Are you on a speakerphone? You're coming in a touch like hollow or something.
No, I got an Obama phone.
Oh, okay, right on. We'll deal with it.
What's crazy is that yesterday, isn't Jesus childless and unmarried?
He is.
And he called you out for being that, and that's why you're whatever was wrong with you?
Right. Well, I had called him creepy, and so he said,
get that.
And so he's like, well, I'm not the one who's childless and unmarried, as if that makes me creepy.
Right. I just thought it was crazy. I'm like, he's preaching Jesus and then picking on Jesus at the same time.
Interesting. Yeah. But he seemed to admit, as soon as I called him out on it, he seemed to admit that I brought a demon out of him. Like he said, we're bringing demons out of each other.
I don't think he admitted that. I know what you mean.
You might be right.
I don't think he's willing to admit that. No one wants to admit they're evil.
I know, especially in the heat of the moment when they're being evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm evil. Like, I've gone through what I've done. Like, I know I'm not evil now, but I just see it. Like, wow, it's crazy to be that blind. I think you guys were talking about that on the show, too, about, like, you don't even see what you're doing in those emotions. That guy crying, like, man, you don't even see what you're doing. It's terrible.
Yeah, you're referring to this man named Jonathan Majors, an actor who cried on stage over his girlfriend, Megan Good, an actress who's older than him, talking about, oh, you held me up. Terrible, man.
Terrible. I was like, like, well, the first thing came on was just like pitiful.
Yeah. Stay close to your phone so you come through as clearly as possible.
All right, I'm gonna end up go buying a new phone today. I think.
Nice.
This has been going on for a while.
Yeah, I understand. Josh in Georgia had to buy a new phone after piercing and ruining. Well, not ruining. Nick's American Anchor Baby stream a couple of weeks in a row.
Yeah, I noticed his phone sounded way clearer.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to get too deep into this conversation or long into it, but yesterday Joe was saying that there was like no inventions during the 1930s in Germany. A lot of people forget Volkswagen was started by that one person.
Volkswagen.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mercedes-Benz ventured into big motors, V12s, for the jet planes for the war.
Wow, yeah.
And then the actual jet engine was invented there, the helicopter, and nuclear fission.
Wow.
I know. I read a book. Go ahead.
Well, I jumped in because it sounded like you were about to say, I'm no fan of pre-World War II Germany or World War II Germany.
No. I was going to get off topic on something else about me reading a book that led me down to like researching this other stuff, and I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy to like even the highway systems that we have in the U.S. Are based off of German technology.
They are.
All highway systems.
I've heard about German engineering ever since I was in kitchen cabinetry. I was in the kitchen cabinetry, and they have Germany and Austria both. But Austria is basically Germans. It's kind of like Canada, right? Canada is basically Americans. Maybe not.
The interstate system, the highway system, the freeways and bridges are built to a certain height, width, and spec, so you can transport any military equipment across the U.S.
Wow.
The same concept they did in Germany. If your bridges are too low, you can't get missiles, airplanes, blah, 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 whatever, across your state line.
That's interesting. Smart, pre-planning Germans. And, you hear about that with the people from the colder climates. They have to plan ahead, and so they're more disciplined in their lives than the people in the warmer climates that every day is just basically a lazy day.
Yeah. I even read, oh man, I don't even want to, do you want to meet crazy? Like someone you might think that's crazy? Give me a call on private, and I read a book over 20 times. It's not no Mein Kampf book or anything like that. It's a book from the guy that was here in the U.S., and I read it over and over, and it just opened my eyes to a lot of different other things. I started doing research and other stuff. I just got deep into old history, like, whoa, this is like crazy. So
nice.
There were some good inventions from that era, but stuff happened, anger, like,
Oh yeah.
all this and that. Like I even read into it that Hitler was a Christian.
I've heard that. I've heard he's an atheist. I've heard he's a Christian. I've heard all kinds of things. And who knows?
In any of his speeches, he mentions God and Christ.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say he's an atheist. I don't really care anymore.
Right.
It's got it over with now.
He's also a politician. He was also a politician, so he appealed to probably most people were Christians at that point in that country, and so he could have just been kissing up, playing to the audience, but it doesn't really. It's sort of a moot point.
To me, socialism is socialism. So like, I don't agree with any of it.
Yeah.
So like, for him, like, it's whatever. I can care less what he did, or not what he did, but what it is now. I'm not there, never was, never will, so I don't really care.
Right. That's how I feel about it. Let's deal with now. If you can learn some human nature lessons from history, that's cool. That's fun. That's awesome.
Well, that's how you stop yourself from repeating it.
Yeah.
History shouldn't matter, but you just see it just so he doesn't repeat it.
Right. Yeah, but
So,
the people who know, the historians of today who supposedly know history, they can't even interpret present times. They think Trump is a bad guy. And they're like,
well,
it's ridiculous.
yeah,
So.
I even gone deep into research on Helen Keller. Like, Helen Keller. You know who that is?
Yeah, she was supposedly the blind, deaf, mute.
Right. And so she was able to somehow do Morse code in some lady's hand, and the lady would give out a whole speech. Tell me how that makes sense.
Right. Who knows? So are you a Helen Keller denier?
I'm not a denier. I mean, I'm sure she was around. Just,
Right.
There's no way that she was able to give out a speech.
Yeah.
You know, not her, but she was like typing in someone's hand, like Morse code.
Yeah.
And that person would give a speech. Like, she probably only understood like 10 words, realistically, not to be mean about it, but come on. Really, if you've never heard a word, never seen a word, or never even touched a word, how would you be able to even understand that, describe that, or even be able to give an hour-long speech?
It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of these questioners of the legitimacy of Helen Keller's story until very recent years.
I'm telling you, well, ever since like coming around and seeing things differently, like a change of heart, I feel like I've had.
Yeah.
You kind of be able to research things like without the emotion of it. You can just like see through things or like try and put two and two together for yourself, because if you don't know for yourself, anyone can tell you anything. That doesn't mean it's true.
Right.
Oh, man, I forgot about that. I'm talking now. You remember that fact over truth thing you always say?
Yeah, facts are not truth. That's right.
Right. So, you know, Arizona cans are still 99 cents, right?
Arizona cans. I didn't know that. So the Arizona iced tea is still 99 cents? I mean, I know it says it on the can.
Right. But did you notice that they've changed the fluid ounces?
Oh, wow. No, I did not notice that.
Mm-hmm. So there's a fact, which isn't the truth, though.
Right.
Yeah, it's still 99 cents, but you're still paying more.
They would have to shrink the amount of, they're going to only have to fill up the can halfway.
They've only cut out 2 fluid ounces so far.
That's not that much.
I know. But still, like, if you're saying that we didn't change our price, okay.
Right.
You change the amount that's in there. So you technically change the price, too.
True.
You're getting less for your dollar.
Yeah. Huh.
So, one other thing. I'll quit talking, though. Go ahead. That's it. I'm done.
I appreciate it. Manuel in California, thank you for your call.
Oh, wait. Hopefully Joe calls me Himmler now.
I'll be surprised.
All right. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, man. Take care. Okay, before I get back to calls, I have super chats that I was remiss in not reading, guys. Tim Scott, the real one, not to be confused with the Rhino Tim Scott, donated on CashApp, sent a CashApp payment. Show is 40% arguing, and this was a couple of days ago. Show is 40% arguing, 60% arguing. Big smile emoji, grinning with teeth. Thank you, man. I know, it's terrible. What a mess. Or is it terrible? Gotta get stuff under control. Linya and Chin has a few Streamlabs donations saying, tell Jesse that prior to the 1830s taxonomy classification system, English users only used the word race for what science folks started calling species in taxonomy, and the 1859 book Origin of Species. Wow, interesting. That's Darwin's Origin of Species, I think. English users only use the word race for what science folk started calling species. This means that race is the original English word for species. It was retrofitted to mean exclusive synonym for ethne, aka nationality or peoples. Changed by social Darwinism at the end of the Civil War era, social Darwinism is all about not making more of me. Huh. Jesse, the answer is human race, meaning kin of humans. The genetically viable for breeding is the same kin, aka race or species. If you can breed, then you're the same race or species. That is why ethne is the right word for different color folk. Ethnicity, ethne. Although he doesn't like superfluous syllables. Mouth breathers prefer saying race, and they outnumber me, he says. Thank you, Lin Yen Chin, for your explanation on the race versus ethne. Thank you, man. Or species. Whatever. Thank you, man. Sounds like it can be used many ways. Appreciate that. Shout out to Xenia. Xenia, a monthly supporter in the Rumble crew and taking care of business. Thank you for the ice creams over on the D-Live side. And let me just double check on the coffees. Oh, yeah. Some coffees on buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report. Let me just mosey on over here and show this beautiful screen. Oh, hold on. Hang on. That's not right. There we go. And yeah, that's the nice scenery. Look at that. Papa. But over on buymeacoffee.com/ let's hope that this shows. Yesterday it wasn't showing. Oh, yeah. Is that Tim Walz? No. Okay. Hang on. Yeah, Tim Walz bought a coffee, and it's a crybaby. Thanks for the shout-out Monday. I really enjoy being #something, Tim. Don't cover your eyes, kids. What's so controversial about putting female hygiene products in boys' bathrooms? Oh, that's why they said it, huh? Oh, I got my first something when I was 12. #something, Tim something. I should cover this. Cover your eyes, kids. Is even better riding around in Willie Brown's favorite something. Spacious. Whatever, man. I shouldn't have shown that. But thank you, Tim Walz. Sounds like you might be a woman. If you got your first something at 12. Yenrik Yagoda says, Shalom, Herr Anton Hake. Anton Hake. That's Anton is my middle name, Anton. I have noticed you do not really discuss the topic of transportation/commuting. What are your thoughts on the state of public transit in the Los Angeles metropolitan area? Do you ride it? If not, what would it take for you to be a public transitor? I have taken it in over the years. I have taken the bus. It's been a few years. I took the bus and the train and the bus and the train all the way to San Gabriel Valley from here. I've taken the bus out to Culver City. I've taken multiple buses, I guess. It's kind of fun. I like taking the bus. I remember taking the bus with my mother a couple of times to Chinatown. Once, to Chinatown. So, yeah, I do appreciate the buses and the trains, although they seem to be getting more and more out of control. Dirty people, out of control people. I'm a little nervous. Why are you getting nervous, man? I'm nervous riding that bus and the train. You hear all kinds of mess happening. Up in San Francisco, I took the bus. No, I didn't take the bus. I took the train. I was a little concerned because you hear about the BART. That's what it is, Bay Area Rapid Transport, BART. Not like Bart Simpson's, just Bay Area Rapid Transport. And you hear all kinds of crimes happening, blacks getting themselves shot. Remember Oscar Grant? He got himself shot and killed by the police. A father, single father, I think. But he was out of control around like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day or something like that with the out of control blacks up in the Bay Area, Brooklyn area, you know. No, not Brooklyn. Oakland area. I get those two confused. They sound similar to me. So I'm I am not really a fan of it at this point. I'm nervous. It is not exactly preferable, but it's kind of fun when you do it. I took the bus 4th of July, multiple trains and buses, and I had to walk all across one part of the city. Ooh. Oh, late at night. Ooh. I'm like, but you do save money. It's cheaper. By the way, Joel Friday says 7-Eleven isn't 99 cents. At 7-Eleven, the Arizona iced tea stuff is not 99 cents. Depends on who's stocking it in the area. Interesting. Yeah, so the pleb life. I prefer my independence. LA people like to drive. Many LA people like to drive. Some people don't. Some people get along without cars just fine, but LA people, you ever watch the movie Swingers? They caravan. Everybody parks. 5 people go, 5 people just drive separately. Because then you have your freedom to just hop in your car and take off where you need to go, when you need to go. You're an independent person. And some people have said that, some conservative people have said, men have said that the liberals don't like you to be independent. They want you to be dependent. Imagine you're dependent on public transportation and it shuts down. And there's too much crime on it. Or it's dirty and disease-ridden and filthy. Or there's crazy people on it, which there are. And then there's normal people who actually do work. It's a mess. So thank you, sir, for the question, Yenrik Yagoda. Yeah, LA's not known for having a very good public transportation system. People come here and they complain, it's too spread out because you have to go all the way over here to go to Santa Monica, all the way down there to go to, I don't know, the convention center, all the way over here to go to the LAX airport, all the way over here to go to Hollywood. It is far. It is. I kind of like it. It's not all cramped up together. But that's kind of all I know. And also, I like the suburbs, too, of Los Angeles. They're kind of nicer. Although they are on decline. So thank you, Yenrik Yagoda. Interesting question, to me anyway. Let's get to some stories, shall we? So, you know what? Here we go, guys. Let me tell you about this. Hang on. Oh, what? Let me tell you about this. Over in the UK, the beautiful UK, the Washington Compost is feeling sorry for these Brits of color, contemplating their safety. And that's a valid concern because there were riots. Large counter-protesters, you may have heard, I mentioned before, anti-racists, have pushed back on anti-immigrant riots. Anti-immigrant. A lot of times they call us anti-immigrant. And some of us are. We're not for this out-of-control immigration, both legal and illegal, and these refugees and all that stuff. But for people of color and immigrant groups, the riots have exposed a worrying undercurrent. And they show this scene of these protesters, these young whippersnapper guys. Look at them. And some of them have anarchy sign, the anarchy around England. What is that? Look, Guy Fawkes type stuff. That's sort of leftist or independent. Look at them throwing trash cans, starting fires allegedly. Don't know. Demonstrators toss a trash bin on August 4th during anti-immigration protests in Rotherham. Oh, Rotherham. I don't know what it is. I never realized that it's not Rotterdam. Maybe I'm thinking of a whole different city. Rotterdam, England. Rotherham, England. By Jennifer Hassan. This gal. Look at her. Would you trust that face? Would you trust that pretty Muslim face? I don't know if it's a Muslim face. But anyway, London. For many Muslims and people of color in Britain, riots led by far-right protesters in recent weeks, some demanding, we want our country back. Exactly. Oh, I disavow, I mean. Not exactly. Roused feelings of insecurity in a country that is, quote-unquote, home. We were emboldened once, so who is to say there won't be flashpoints again, says Dhruti Shah, a British-born citizen of Indian and Kenyan heritage. He's part Indian and part Kenyan, but he's British-born, meaning he was born in the UK as an anchor baby. He's referring to those who committed anti-immigrant violence. After weeks of disorder, there was a partial reprieve. And where's the understanding for them, by the way? No understanding for them. Oh, they just call him racist and Islamophobic. After weeks of disorder, there was a partial reprieve last Wednesday, I believe it would have been. This is a report from August 12th, a couple days ago. Last Wednesday, a week ago, as more than 100 anti-immigrant protests expected around the nation were met with huge, evil counter-protests. And the protests, many of them were evil. A show of, quote-unquote, anti-racism, and they don't put it in quotes, though, because they pretend that anti-racism is a real thing, that stifled the far right, so-called far right. They're not far right. Give me a break. Anyway, peaceful protesters carried signs that read, refugees welcome and racists not welcome here. I thought you welcomed everybody. But British authorities warned that further unrest could be possible, even if the anti-racists have numbers on their side. The violent protests highlight there is a passionate minority who feel emboldened to display anti-immigrant and so-called racist views. Racists not welcome here. And look at that female-looking hand. Yeah, okay. I'm real scared of you, woman. But anyway, people in Walthamstow area of London demonstrate Wednesday against a protest organized by so-called far-right activists. These are extremist anti-white people. At least some in that minority were willing to engage in violence, which began after a stabbing attack, you heard about that, by that guy, the son of Rwandan, the anchor baby son of Rwandan immigrants who, according to somebody who called into my show, didn't assimilate. I don't know. That led to the deaths of 3 young children in Southport, England, last month. Before the attacker was formally identified, misinformation about his identity and immigration status swirled online as if it's relevant. It's not really that relevant to me. The defendant, Axel Rudakabana, 17, British citizen born in Cardiff, Wales, to parents from Rwanda, not an asylum seeker, did not enter the country illegally, as some in social media falsely claimed. Who cares? In recent weeks, the far-right so-called protesters attacked a hotel housing asylum seekers, which I, of course, think is stupid and wrong. Both wrong and stupid. Usually wrong is stupid, but both wrong and stupid. And assaulted police officers and first responders, according to these reports, right? Bricks and petrol bombs, that is to say Molotov cocktails, right, usually. Petrol is short for gasoline. It's English or European for gasoline. Launched at mosques. Police shared footage of a Muslim bus driver racially abused and spat at as he worked. Did they show it? Did they show that white guy get kicked in the face by the Muslims? No, they don't mention that part. There's a whole lot of mutual combat in these things. Okay? They're not really honest when they report about violence and protests. So I don't know if we're getting the real story. Because I remember Charlottesville, it was a violent protest. Charlottesville in America. And meanwhile, most of the violence was done by the leftists against the whites. But some of the whites took part in it, and it was a mess. So be wiser, whites. Some elected officials voiced their own safety concerns. Scottish First Minister Humza Yousaf told the podcast a couple weeks ago, probably by now, The riots made him question whether he wanted to stay in Britain. And that type of line is what some of you guys justified. One of you guys justified. Aaron said, see, we're making them feel not welcome, which is, he thinks it's a good thing. There's other ways, maybe, man. Yusuf, a Muslim born in Glasgow, Scotland, to Pakistani immigrants, said he has been for some time worried about the rise of Islamophobia. I don't know if the future is for me, my wife and 3 children, going to be here in Scotland or the United Kingdom or indeed in Europe and the West. Received hundreds of and he's probably playing it up to push up the victimhood stuff. Because it depends on where you go. I mean, everywhere is dangerous. And the whites are not the primary threat, man. Anyway, Shaw is age 42, said the riots stole attention from the 3 girls who were killed and the other victims. That's a fact. While the counter-protests and displays of unity were heartwarming, she added, oh, a woman? Psh, wait, what? Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Oh, Shaw is a different person. Who was the Shaw person? Who's Shaw? Anyway, I don't really care. But there's this woman. Maybe it's just a first name. You never know with these foreign names. A nice English name. Said the riots stole attention, blah, blah, blah. Heartwarming. Anti-racism protests are not heartwarming. It does not mean the issue of racism in Britain has gone away. As of Sunday, more than 700 people arrested nationwide in the unrest. Emergency security. British government is giving emergency security for mosques. See? All your protesting is putting the government on their side even further against you. I'm talking to the whites who are justifying the riots. Communities are feeling really, really vulnerable. See? Evil begets evil begets evil. That's why you have to catch yourself. When you hear one of these evil things, had you responded wisely, you'd be having the government's eye on at least that young man who did it, who did the stabbing, you know. This is the first time I've ever felt vulnerable because of my skin color, said Amy, 34-year-old teacher in London. See? All her 34 years, she never felt vulnerable. So this racism is brought about, so-called racism is brought about. Look at this. White on white. White cop versus white protester. What a mess. Can't we all just get along? Mayor Sadiq Khan. London Mayor Sadiq Khan on X. A thread. Now is here's evil Sadiq Khan, and then I'll get to calls, guys. Evil Sadiq Khan, the Muslim mayor of London. And he's a liberal. They say, oh, Muslims are conservative naturally. No, they're liberals. They're Democrats in America, and they're socialists, which is the same thing, in the UK. A thread. Now is the time to please check in on your black, brown, and minority friends, family, neighbors, and colleagues. In many of the parts of the country, they don't feel safe. How about the whites? Check on the whites. They're not safe either. They're getting persecuted by their government and by people like you. Where's the love for all? Oh, and then I don't have the rest of the thread. That's okay, because I'm not logged in. I got to log in on this someday. It's not important. Sadiq Khan doesn't say anything good anyway. He was part of that video that I showed to you guys. Evil Sadiq Khan. He was part of that video that was clamping down on the freedom of speech of the people. So zip those lips and bind your fingers, you British, Welsh, and European and American people. I've noticed I don't post anything practically. And I'm a host. Sadiq Khan, on the other hand, says Joel Friday. Simp. Catch Joel Friday TV. Sadiq Khan is a Muslim-based woman, supposedly. Joel Friday TV, live Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. 1 Central, 2 Eastern. What was I saying? Oh, I don't even post anything. I won't post about the transgenders. I won't post about the blacks, really. I'll talk about them on my show, but shout out to the blacks. They know I love them. Oh, shoot, did I type that out loud? It says 12 Friday. Because, look, I saw this. Let me see if I can show this to you guys. I think I might have put this in my folder here. Complicated business, everybody. My goodness. Let's see, where is this? Oh, no. Okay. Okay, let's see. I don't know if... Oh, yeah, I don't have it. I censored this guy's face. Oh, let me put it in the folder. That would be awesome if I could just do this. Because Elon Musk... I look like I'm on my phone, and I am, but it's because I'm doing work, guys. Yeah, I censored it. Variety reported that J.K. Rowling, you know, the woman who hated Trump and stuff like that, she and Elon Musk, these based liberals, that's so cool. These based liberals, we use the term loosely, right? Are catching lawsuits. And I censored it. J.K. Rowling and Elon Musk have both been named in a criminal complaint. A criminal complaint filed to French authorities. Because this tattletale... Oh, hold on. Let me click and drag. Okay, I'm a bit of a boomer. Far left extremist Variety writes, J.K. Rowling, and Elon Musk both been named in a criminal complaint filed to French authorities over alleged acts of aggravated cyber harassment. Words. They didn't try to seek out this guy. Harassment against Algerian boxer. I bet you they didn't even tag him. Maybe they did. I don't know. Did they tag him on social media? How is it harassment? Algerian boxer newly clowned. I'm just kidding, guy. I mean, gal. Guys means guys and gals, guys. It's not gendered to say guys. Guys. It means guys and gals. I'm kidding. Imani Khalif, the Olympic champion for women's boxing, which shouldn't exist. There's Elon Musk. Here's J.K. Rowling. Let me disappear myself for a second. And then there's what's the guy's name? Imani Khalif. I censored it. You guys want to see it? Since I showed that dirty coffee, may as well. Look at that. This is why I don't post. Because I already know that you don't get your freedom of speech. It doesn't benefit you to do your little freedom of speech thing. I wonder if I can find it. What am I on? I can't read that from here. I can't read it from here. Let's see. It's like, x.com/variety. Let's see if that works. Come on. Don't, you gotta kiss the girl. Okay, here we go. Cover your eyes, kids. This may be dirty. And I have to scroll a lot. It's gonna probably make me log in after a while. Because I want to show the uncensored version. Okay. No, you guys have been spared from the uncensored thing. That's fine. Let's get back to calls. I will tell you guys about memes after I get to some calls. Memes that catch you and put you in trouble. it's a big mess. Okay, it's a big mess. So watch you don't expect to have your freedom of speech. I mean, you can exercise it, but exercise it wisely. Because it's a big mess. Okay. Lines are full, guys. Shant. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Out of California? First-time caller?
It's actually Shant.
Shant.
I'm close.
Nice. Good to hear from you. Thank you for calling and holding there.
Of course. Nice to hear from you. Happy Men's History Month.
And is it SHANT?
Yes.
Nice.
It is.
Appreciate you.
Happy Men's History Month.
Thank you. Happy Men's History Month to you as well.
That's right. I had a really quick question for you, Hank. So I did the whole, forgiving my parents, doing the silent prayer, and the whole 9 yards. So now, again, from my previous marriage, I'm having difficulty getting along with my kids as far as, what do I mean by that is, my kids have pretty much deep-rooted anger, and I don't take it personal, of course. I understand where it comes from, as I used to feel the same way. I've spoken to them. I told them about my journey, my process, as far as, what you guys should really be focusing on to get over the anger you guys have, which is, of course, it's the parents' fault for creating, their anger and all that. But again, in your fallen state, you don't know any better.
Right.
So I've given them the advice that Jesse normally gives out, and I've already spoken to them, but it doesn't seem like it registers. And what ends up happening is, I don't, again, hold anything against them, but what does end up happening is they start, my son particularly, he starts getting verbally abusive over text.
To you?
And right, to me. And I just kind of ignore it, and I don't want to interact because it is toxic, so I want to keep my distance, and I do, but he reaches out, so I'm kind of confused and not sure how to go about it, because I've already given them the advice. I've already apologized and said, hey, look, I'm sorry, for not being the best father I could be, I've always taken responsibility with my kids if I made it.
Is that all you said? I'm sorry for not being the best father I could be?
Well, this was before, when I was, of course, asleep.
Okay,
really,
okay, I get it.
Right,
Fair enough.
Right. So I'm just kind of going back a little bit. But
yeah.
Recently, when, I talked to them, I said, look, you got to forgive your parents so you can overcome the anger, so you can move on and not be stuck where I used to be stuck.
Yeah.
Right? So I've given them that speech, and I've given them that advice, but it still doesn't register. So my son, again, sends me a text, which is abusive. He says things and all that. So
yeah.
I don't take it personal, but
Good.
I just want to stay away from all that toxicity. But he reaches out again. So what would be your best advice then to deal with it?
Take it like a man. Just take the abuse. And if he's, yeah, I'm serious though.
Yeah, sure.
Because he's mad, and no matter of preaching or even telling the truth, even if it's, no matter how logical or even simple it is, you have to, for one, you have to be living it. Otherwise, he's not going to accept it. And even if you are living it, he may still not accept it because he's a little B word now, You know how women become that way, and they don't accept a word you say, even if you're telling the plain truth. They don't accept it.
Right.
And so you just have to let them not accept it, and you be a man about it and not lash back.
No, of course not. No. I've never done that because, again, I don't take it personal.
Yeah.
So if he's, do I need to be around that? Do we need to hang out, or should I just? As far as the communication is concerned, I'm just confused about how to go about communicating, because it's always ends up with his emotional outbursts, and ends up, it's just nothing really good comes out of it. So do I need to be around that? I mean, I'm here and available if he needs anything, as far as if he needs to, get advice or talk about anything. But as far as just communicating, it's just really toxic, and I don't really see a point to that.
If he wants to talk, then talk.
Okay.
Yeah, if he doesn't seem to want to talk, then leave him alone.
Okay. So if he reaches out, says a few things over
And
the
even if
text,
it's funny hearing a man say it's toxic and verbally abusive. I know what you
Yeah.
mean, but those are
I
kind
just
of
want to put
woman.
in perspective.
Those are kind of woman words, though, man. But I don't.
No,
I'm not holding it against you. I'm not holding it against
Sure.
you. But
Right.
I get what
It's
you're
just a-
saying. He's mean or
Yeah.
nasty and hate-filled and
But
resentful.
right. I don't take it personal, like I'm saying again. So I'm just putting these words on it so you can get an idea.
Right.
Because I mean, you can't cuss online, right? So
Yeah.
you can't cuss
Right.
over the
Yeah.
phone.
I don't want you to cuss on my show. Yeah.
Right. So that's why I'm putting those
So I say.
titles on it.
You're right. I say. Let him get it off his chest.
Okay. Fair enough. And then just continue the interactions then, I guess.
I can't say whether to do that or not, because you're in the situation and you want to see for yourself whether you should continue talking to him or not, because it's really not good for him really to be saying all those things. It can be good. It can be good if he's getting it off his chest and he's saying aggressive talk, then that's fine. If he's expressing if he's expressing his issues with you, whether you think it's valid or not, because sometimes you may just be blind to how off you are or have been towards him.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe you're lame and that's why he's hating you.
Well, no, I was. I mean, again, when I was asleep, of course, yes, I wasn't my best.
Yeah.
But I've forgiven my parents. I'm doing the silent prayer. I'm doing.
But
all that I
even
can
with forgiving
to
your
better
parents
myself.
and doing your silent prayer and working on yourself, you may still be a weak beta and coming out of it, but it's still like stuff you don't see. It's not like all of a sudden
100%.
It's not like all of a sudden you're an alpha.
No, of course. It takes a long time to get to that point, I guess. I'm not really sure, but as far as like you said earlier, the interaction is just it isn't anything positive. It's just we hang out, we converse, then it ends up he starts lashing out, he starts doing his normal routine, and I just like, hey man, this isn't really the way to go about it.
Yeah.
I've given you the advice, I'm giving you the guidance that you need to overcome them.
I would say don't even remind him about the advice. Just live it.
Okay, just go through the whole thing then.
I don't know what that means necessarily, but I would just live your own advice,
Sure.
Because a son can't really abuse his father.
Well, it's again, I can't use the term or the verbiage that
How old is he again?
he uses. He's 23 years old.
Oh.
He's off to college. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, if he wants
He's
to talk,
an adult.
Yeah, if he wants to talk, then talk. Then, but if he doesn't, then don't. And if he gets like that, don't respond to it.
I don't. But do you think it's a wise decision to keep my distance, to show him like, hey, this kind of interaction, there's consequences to it. You can't continue your life this way and expect people to be involved in your life. Right?
I can't say whether that's wise or not.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you don't want to act like you're teaching him a lesson. You just be normal. Just be a normal man.
No, for sure. And the other thing I wanted to point out is I hear Jesse all the time saying, hey, if your kids are acting this way, then keep your distance. Like, you don't need to interact with them at all if they're just being a-holes, right?
Yeah.
Keep your distance. So that's the kind of thing that I wanted to point out to you and get your point on that and get your advice on that, because that's what Jesse was kind of mentioning. Because I hear people calling all the time with issues with their kids.
Is he independent? He's out working on his own and living on his own?
Yeah, I mean, it's from my previous marriage. He's off to college. He's dorming. He's getting his education. Yeah.
Still, even at 23?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of old to be... Is he finishing almost?
Not necessarily, but he's there.
Okay.
He's midway.
Is he supporting his own college career, or are you guys supporting it?
No. Again, we're divorced, so the mom is doing that whole toxic.
She's paying for it.
That whole I'm going to pay for your college. I'm going to take care of you. You go to college. That whole thing.
That's rough, man.
Yeah, it is, man. It really is. I've taught him some values as far as taking care of yourself, doing your chores, doing your laundry, being self-sufficient as much as I could when I was around.
Yeah.
But now, since I'm not around, the mom has turned the kids against me, of course, and so.
If you ever want private counseling, you can talk you can contact the office, the bond office, if you want to talk off air with JLP, or if it's not too private, call into his show and talk about it. But I couldn't tell you. Part of it is that I don't even know what he's like. I don't know his side of the story. I don't know how you are in dealing with him.
I don't mind dealing with him, but nothing just gets across. It just goes in one ear and comes out the other.
But that is one thing that I would encourage you to cut out.
Okay.
Do what you want, do what you see to do, but cut out the preaching.
Yeah, I don't. I really don't.
But you just said it goes in one ear and out the other, then it sounds like you're... Go ahead.
Right. But to be specific, when he starts cursing and just going on his rants, that's when I start telling him, hey,
So you are responding. You told me that you weren't responding. That's a response.
No, I don't respond in an angry way. I don't
respond at all.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I suggest. Right. It might not be good advice, but I would suggest not responding at all, because if you're responding with preaching, that's being like a woman. A woman will, the government people will be like, now, don't be racist. You know what I mean?
Oh no, yeah, no, for sure. No.
Even though you're giving like advice that's more sound than that, it's still advice. It's still unwanted advice. He didn't ask you for advice. He's cussing at you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I normally, don't engage in that, but after the fact, I'm like, you can do better. There's a way.
No, unless he's apologizing to you and saying, "Oh, I wish I wasn't cussing at your dad." Then you could tell him maybe, because that's basically asking for advice. But other than that, even when it's calm, you don't come back to him with that preaching stuff.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
All right. Just pretend nothing happened. Just move on.
It's not about pretending nothing happened. It's that you're not pushing something down his throat.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Does that make sense,
Appreciate your time. It does. No, it perfectly makes sense. Definitely.
Yeah, because that could be irritating.
No, I completely can see that. Definitely.
Yeah. And even if it's like the perfect truth, or perfect facts really is not necessarily true.
He's blinded. Once you have so much anger and, you just can't see it. You can't see the truth no matter how much you want to see it, I guess.
Yeah, and you too may be blind in how you're going about it.
No, for sure, definitely.
Yeah, because you may be attached to him, and you don't want to be attached to him, like upset that he's destroyed.
Not.
I mean,
I'm not.
No, but if you're attached to if you're attached, you're sad or anything about how his mother's destroying him and how.
I've gotten over that.
Nice.
Yeah, I've gotten over that. I don't have any emotional attachment whatsoever. As you start working on yourself, you tend to see things pretty clear, and especially if you're really wanting the truth, you tend to see things pretty clearly, and you get over these emotions pretty quickly, I think.
Nice.
So,
cool, man.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for your time, Hank.
Yeah. Thank you for calling. It's a pretty interesting call. Pretty interesting situation. A lot of people can relate to that, I bet.
It is kind of complicated for sure.
Yeah. Like I almost want to tell you, just let him go, leave him alone.
No,
entirely.
I agree. That's what I'm doing.
But you're doing it to teach him a lesson that's about you can't treat people this way, and that's not what your motivation should be.
Well, that kind of right. Okay, I see what you mean. The motivation shouldn't be that. Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, because
right.
it's just it doesn't make sense to engage with the devil.
No, it doesn't. That's my whole point. That's what I was trying to. That's what I'm trying to get myself to understand. That I think this is the best route, just to kind of leave them be. Not to engage and not to. Yeah, I think that makes perfect sense.
Just be open.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Play some.
Yeah, I'm not.
Play some Mary Rice Hopkins for him.
Yeah.
That's funny that you know who that is.
Will do.
No, I'm kidding around, man.
No, that's fine. No,
definitely call into JLP because I'm interested in your situation. But make sure that you're watching yourself because you have to see and do what you see to do, and not necessarily rely on other people's
advice. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think in having this discussion, I'm pretty clear.
Cool.
And I think just the best just to leave them be.
Yeah. The best thing that you can do for him is continue working on yourself.
Absolutely.
Get over your own issues. That's how you can show him love.
Absolutely. Silent prayer, I can't recommend that enough.
Nice.
Forgiving your parents and the silent prayer is it's amazing. It's unbelievable.
Cool.
So thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Shant.
Shant, yes.
Okay. It's good to hear from you, man.
All right,
Call me again sometime.
Thanks, bud.
All right.
Nice talking to you, man.
Yeah, you too.
Take care.
Bye. Okay, there's one line open. One line opened up there, guys. We're past the top of the hour. I saw another super chat come in. Harmony says, brother, hey, sister. That's a Cash App. Thank you, Thanks, Harms. Appreciate the support as always. That's cool. Let me double check for. I did see another super chat come in from Popcorn Thump Cake. Let's show this to you guys. It's hopefully it even shows, man. Lord have mercy. Where are my super chats? Do. Let's see if this shows. It wasn't showing before. Oh, yes. Nice. If everybody is special, no one is, says Popcorn's Thump Cake. Popcorn's Thump Cake. And she's sharing a quote. I don't know if he really agrees with this, or she, or it, if it's an AI. I believe I've heard you say that most people are evil. How do you find... I think I've said all people are evil. Maybe I've definitely said most people are evil. How do you define evil/good without using either word in the definition of the other? Evil is devilish. Most people are devilish. It's a nice word from my childhood. And good are godly. Godly. Patient. Honest. In the right way. Loving. Not self-seeking. And the evil people are impatient, dishonest, self-seeking. And that's everybody. I ask because if you believe most people are evil, and that is the root of most issues, what's the point in calling someone evil? I know it's kind of interesting, huh? No, that's a question. It would be a bit like walking through the mall and pointing out every person that you see wearing shoes. It would be more noteworthy if someone isn't wearing shoes. Exactly. I'm with you. So the point of calling them evil is pointing to evil manifests in different ways, right? It manifests in getting into the LGBT stuff, trying to sue somebody for cyber harassment in the French court, even though you're an Algerian and the people you're suing are like Elon Musk, who's not French or Algerian, or J.K. Rowling, who's British, I think, English. Is she an English woman? It would be a bit like walking through the blah, 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 blah. The point in calling someone evil is you point out they're evil in the moment when they're evil, kind of thing. Mark, he spelled it with a C, said we have a problem race and not a race problem. And you agreed. But if most people are evil, your take, indeed, there isn't a race that is more problematic than any other. I wouldn't say that. I don't know if I would say that. You may point out certain types of evil being more prevalent. Indeed. But if most people are evil, what's the point in one evil person calling another person evil? Indeed. Fair point. No, that's a question. Because it's more of a symptom race. They're not the problem. The problem is evil within, right? So the problem race is kind of like the problem child. The problem child is a symptom of the dysfunction of evil people, of they themselves, the evil problem child themselves. I've called, the blacks the problem child of America, right? But it's not as if the goody whites are so good. If they were so good, they'd be a good influence on the blacks, but they're not. They're lame-os. So it's true, the whites are evil too. And they're evil in different ways from how the blacks are evil. And okay, so if you focused on yourself as you advocate for, would you even have a radio show where you touch on the evil things going on in the world? I think I would. I think I still would. Because, JLP pays attention to himself, but he points out the evil in the world and how you react to the evil in the world or don't react to the evil in the world. So it is important to watch, look at the blacks being so evil, but you're not judging them for being so evil. Or if you are, you're worse than the blacks. And a lot of the whites become that way. It just seems pointless if you believe most people, including yourself, are evil to call out evil in other people. It's like the Spider-Man meme, where all the Spider-Man characters are pointing at each other. Funny. You, Hake, are evil, self-admitted, calling other people evil. What's the point? Just because you're evil doesn't mean you don't point out evil. Right? I don't think that it's pointless at that point. It can devolve into pointlessness. And indeed, maybe it is pointless. As the Bible says, pointless, everything is pointless, meaningless. A chasing after the wind, vanity. It might be popcorn's thump keg. You like how I say keg instead of keg? Popcorn's thump keg. I wonder what that means, that name. It's like scary. I'm scared because I don't know what it means. But he seems not so vulgar. Part of the point is encouraging. I have a black audience, believe it or not. And some of the blacks do like to check themselves sometimes. And I have a white audience. And some of them like to check themselves. And sometimes it's good to check yourself, checking others. Because some people think, I'm going to just go check this person. And you better check yourself. Better back the boop up before you get smacked the boop up. And the benefit of calling it evil is, and knowing that you're evil yourself, or knowing that everyone's capable of evil, or is evil, is then it's not, racism. I'm not racist, but these people are racist. Because they're pretending that this made-up thing, which most of the time when they're calling them racist, they're doing something perfectly fine. Or none of your business type thing, hopefully that helps. Thank you, Popcorn Thumb Cake. Fun coffee as always, as usual. For me anyway, I'm an intellectual. And you are too, I think, Mr. AI, or Mr. Popcorn, Mr. Keg, Mr. Popcorn. Is he Asian? Whatever. C-Style says, in all caps, yelling, Jesus said, take the plank out of your own eye so you can help your brother take out his. Indeed. That's a fact. And Zazen says, okay, thanks, C-Style. These people think they're doomed Jesus. Only Dune Jesus gets all caps privileges. But thank you, Popcorn Stump Cake. Very nice. I got to get back to calls. Oh, lowered. Shameful. Let's see. Mark in Los Angeles, California is on the line here. Mark, thank you for calling and holding there, man. What's up?
Yeah, how you doing?
Fine.
Well, before I get to the reason I called, I wanted to straighten out some misinformation that was spread on your show yesterday. First of all, before I get to that, I want to say President Trump, J.D. Vance, Vivek Ramaswamy, Elon Musk are white men, right-wingers, and successful individuals. That question was put to Aiden. Of course, Aiden wasn't there to speak, and you didn't know anybody. So I have to do your homework and answer your satanic co-host. Those are 4 outstanding right-wing white success stories. Now, this isn't the reason I called, but I'll get it out of the way quickly, I promise.
Okay.
In the lie that your co-host told yesterday about white supremacy being the biggest terrorist threat in America, outright lie. He used the DOJ and the crooked FBI, the same crooked 2 groups that fostered a Russia hoax on us that tells us that, Charlottesville was the fault of the whites.
Right.
That the Hunter Biden laptop was not to be believed. When they say white supremacy is the biggest threat of terrorism, they're lying. They don't have any evidence. They don't have nothing to put out. When the crooked Christopher Wray, the scumbag that's head of the FBI, was asked to show evidence of white supremacy being a threat, all he would say is, it's under investigation, can't comment. Spoken like a real communist.
Huh.
So it's a lie that white supremacy is what built this country, okay? The founding fathers, by today's standards, would be considered white supremacists. So there's nothing un-American about being a racist. There's nothing un-American about being a white supremacist. So when they say that we're the threat, they're taking the focus off of themselves. Terrorism is a Muslim, Negro conspiracy in a sense. I won't call it a conspiracy. I'll take that back. But the terrorism comes from Islam in this country. They're the biggest promoters of it. When was the last time you heard of a white supremacist?
And they are a tiny percent of the population, and so many of the attacks come from them. It's wild.
Well, sure.
But why do you call the founders white supremacists?
No, I'm not. I said by today's standards.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
They would be considered white supremacists.
That's why they want to get rid of them. Yeah, true.
That's right. And that's why they want to get rid of white people.
Right.
They use the word supremacist, but it's a dodge. In your readings or when you're watching TV or looking at the news and they mention white supremacy, just drop the word supremacy.
Yeah.
Or what's the other thing that they use?
Privilege.
White privilege.
Yeah.
When you hear white privilege, just drop privilege, and it's an attack on whites.
Right.
I would recommend, and I'll get to my point quickly, that everyone listen to Joel Friday TV from yesterday. He's a good man. He gave me a half hour to speak my piece, and he agreed with most of what I had to say.
Nice.
And that was my first time caller to him. Good man. He's a good man. Now, the reason for the call was because this is what might be called a conspiracy theory, but I think it's worthy to listen. On the assassination attempt of President Trump, Cheatle was her name, the female head of the Secret Service until she resigned. Her and Liz Cheney were tight.
Kim Cheatle. Yeah,
they
Kimberly
were
Cheatle.
tight. And you have to remember that Liz Cheney and her satanic father, the former vice president, have called Trump a threat to democracy. Though that term gives the crazy leftists out there that are listening to me right now, like Le Chateau, some French little creep that likes to talk crap all the time. If he ever calls, I'll talk to him. He's a lion snake as well. But now I got off of what I was saying.
Kim Cheatle.
Put me back on. Pardon me?
Kimberly Cheatle.
Yeah, what happened there with the Trump attempted assassination was Cheatle and Cheney. Well, not so much Cheatle, but Cheney and her old man were calling Trump a threat to democracy. A threat to democracy allows any left-wing fanatic to try to kill that person, legal or illegal. And that includes government
I know.
people.
Yeah,
And
that
that's why-
fear mongering is basic. Yeah, it's kind of like calling him Hitler, and
Yes.
because people fantasize about, oh, if I were alive back then, I would have taken out Hitler, and so they're
Yeah.
thinking the same thing about Trump. It's so
And
evil.
Liz-
It's hatred.
Correct. And Liz Cheney and her father and the Rhino section, like the clown co-host of yours, they want to see Trump dead. And they try to take his Secret Service away from him. Benny Thompson, this fat pig of a
I don't know
congressman.
if it's fair to say that Joe wants to see Trump dead.
Well, he would never admit it because he's a liar.
Right,
When he
but
says
you
white supremacy-
don't necessarily know that, man.
Well, just look
Let's
at what he
just
said.
stick with.
Every time he calls,
Right.
he attacks white people, whether it's the Hells Angels, white-collar criminals,
Yeah.
or this myth of white supremacy.
Yeah.
And it is a myth. They hate white people, and they cover it by saying supremacists
So what
or
he had
privilege.
So what he had said was what my co-host, the snake, Joe from Phoenix had said was, he's all, well, Hake, what did he say?
He said,
Do you
the
know
FBI,
any? He's all, do you know any white extremists, right-wing extremists who are successful? And I'm thinking right-wing extremists as in like the people who get called Nazis. And so I wasn't thinking of Trump or Vivek. That would have been a good
that's
answer.
okay.
And then I would have been
No, I
interested.
understand.
I would have been
Sure.
interested in what he thought when I said
Well-
Trump, a right-wing extremist, successful.
Well, in his
J.D.
sick
Vance.
mind, and he is a sick man. Oh no, don't make no mistake.
Uh-huh.
He may speak to you in a calm. Well, he doesn't always speak to you in a calm, rational way.
Right.
But even when he does, he's a snake.
Right.
The
That's
things
how.
he says.
That's people.
Like he's attacking white people constantly.
Yeah.
Oh, he wants Trump dead.
That's why I call him a
No,
commie.
not about it.
I don't know, man. That's not fair. I mean, you can
Well,
call.
he's not going to admit it though. He's never going to admit his evil.
I know, but you don't know.
But-
You don't know his innermost thoughts. Let's leave it alone that he's evil, because he's evil and angry. And
Oh, okay, I know, but when he spreads misinformation on your platform, I'm going to call him on it.
Nice.
And that goes for his commie little supporters in the peanut gallery. He's got a few dummies. I don't know if they're Negroes, if they're communists, or if they're both. But whatever they are, they're just as evil as he is. But the point is, he gives misinformation on your line here, and you don't challenge him. I'm not blaming you. I'm not mad at you. But when you're dealing with a professional liar, he's going to throw things at you that are like curveballs. Like when I had a debate with him about affirmative action. Well, it wasn't a debate, but when I told him that affirmative action was created for Negroes, he turned it on white women. See, that was a dodge. When he
Right.
says
Yeah.
white supremacy is a major
totally changing the subject. Indeed, I agree with that.
Yeah. No. But lastly, when he says white supremacy is a threat to America and they're the largest terror, he's going by the liars at the DOJ who hate white people historically, and the FBI, which are also white haters. And Christopher Wray is worse than Comey. Worse than
Wow.
Comey. And
That's
I
bad.
do realize that Trump appointed him.
Right.
But
No,
Trump
I know.
also picked Pence as VP, and
Yeah.
that was a terrible mistake. But lastly, and I'll let you go, there was a thing on the internet of all the people that Trump is going to fill his cabinet with, and they're all good people. Elon Musk was in there, Vivek was in there, even Ben Shapiro, who I
Nice.
don't really like, but I
Yeah.
could see him as maybe a press secretary compared to that animal that we have now that calls herself a press secretary, that disgrace to America, who wasn't even born here, and she's morally evil.
Right.
That's who. It's a slap in the face to the American public to have to look at that animal give a lie to the public every day.
She is mildly attractive, but I agree with you. She is evil, and she's promoting evil. And
Let me just
shame
say
on
this
Joe
about
Biden.
that.
Yeah.
As pretty as you think she might be, you'd never get over the smell.
I gotta go,
You
man.
would never get over the smell.
No, she looks like she smells fine. Thank you, Mark in
I
Los
doubt it.
Angeles. It's good to hear from you, man.
No, she looks like Satan. Okay, thank you, Hake. God bless.
You too. Take care. And Mark's fellow Irishman woman, Terry in Oregon, has been on hold forever. Terry, how you doing?
Oh man, I'm okay. I have some notes, I guess, so I'm prepared.
You have whole notes?
Well, yeah. Well, okay. When Manuel was on the call, he mentioned Helen Keller, so I wrote down a Helen Keller joke. If you want to hear it.
Okay, let's hear it.
How do you punish Helen Keller?
Put her in the corner.
No, that's not the answer.
Okay.
It's rearrange the furniture.
Oh, that's messed up. I've heard that one before.
I know. It came in my mind. I was like, oh yeah, I used to know some Helen Keller jokes. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I wanted to call to talk about the rioting in England and the insight I had about it, because I was thinking about it recently, and I was reading a man, reflecting about his emotional issues in his life, and how when he went through a period of grief, he got really angry. And he was making the insight that men often default to anger when they get emotional because it's socially acceptable. I think because it's perceived as more masculine, because it's a more aggressive emotion.
Right. Okay.
I think that's pretty. I thought there was some truth to that, and I have seen that. I definitely noticed that. I was raised with that sort of environment as well. Just being in a more masculine environment, I tended to default to anger before other emotions. Okay. Because it just was, what it was modeled, and then also it seemed safer. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting insight. I don't know.
People do think that. I know that, like, it's an imitation. It's a false imitation of like strength.
And I thought that might be like there's this massive riot uproar, and really it's just such a tragic situation to have these 3 little girls murdered so violently. It's senseless, and I think, underneath anger, there's often grief or sorrow. And
True.
It reminded me of, I think one of the first times I called in, I was inspired by Mark, who I just got to hear being awful.
Mark was being awful?
Well, the things he was saying, yeah, especially at the end there, God.
He went after that mildly attractive gal from the island. She's cute.
She's so cute. Yeah, she's the cutest secretary, and she's so relatable too, because she hates her job. She's just up there like going through the motions. She doesn't believe anything she says. It's so obvious.
That's funny. Yeah, we'll circle back. That's interesting.
Yeah, anyway, I remember him calling into the Anchor Baby to praise the people who were attending the Laken Riley Memorial.
Right, as having been peaceful.
They were so peaceful, and look how peaceful the white people are. They're not like those animals at the George Floyd riots,
Yeah.
And now we have an example of, these murders taking place and white people rioting, as well. So I just thought it was interesting, kind of circle back. But I do think, would have been probably a much better situation if they had been more aware that they were grief-stricken or like sorrowful. They may not have been so destructive and might have been able to do something more productive.
Definitely. It's not good. It's not good propaganda to be acting out, especially when you're white, because you get even the media is not on your side, nor the government. And the media and government are on the side of the leftist protesters, whether they're violent or not, but not so so that's why the protests don't do any good. And then also it's just a pointless and evil expression of anger. that just creates more, that's just continuing the evil, fighting evil with evil. You're overcome with evil when you're doing that.
Yeah. I mean, and sometimes I think too, there's reality that most emotions are evil generally, and reacting with emotion is evil. I mean, I don't know if emotion is always evil. I struggle with understanding that. I think if you let it rule you, it's evil. I think if you let it take over, it's evil. But sometimes I think these things come upon us to, direct us or inform us, I should say.
You think so?
It's informative sometimes to recognize what we're feeling.
It is informative to recognize what you're feeling, but denying them or pretending that they're not there is one thing, but recognizing that they're evil, I don't know. I think that, is there an emotion that doesn't rule over you?
Yeah, most of my emotions don't roll over me.
Okay.
They're not even mine. What am I? No, I don't know. Is there emotion that doesn't roll over you? I mean, don't you have that come upon you sometimes where you feel something and then you're like, ugh?
Yeah, I do. Like, I shuddered recently when I saw something, even on the show. And it kind of, you get a weird, like when you see an interracial relationship that just doesn't look right. And you're like, oh, or a gay relationship or something like that. Something that just on its face just doesn't look right. Or this Algerian boxer that looks like either a mannish looking woman or a very effeminate seeming man, and I'm going with whatever the mainstream tells me I'm supposed to go with so that I don't get in trouble. But there's something just inside recoils about it. And that often is evil if you go with it. You don't want to go with it. So in that sense it can be informative in that, like, something is telling me that it's wrong. But if you go with that feeling, then it's evil, because then you're judging the person then. You don't want to judge the interracials or the gays or whatever the boxer person is, whether it's whatever the physical and mental or whatever issues that are going on there. Because it might just be a physical issue and then who knows what's going on. But you don't want to, you definitely don't want to, I don't know, you don't want to go with it.
No, I understand not going with the emotions, but I mean, like, I've found that helpful when something comes up and I feel like a natural kind of revulsion or when I, have that feminine intuition come upon me that something isn't right here, know, some sort of awareness. And I just, I note it, I don't let it rule me, but the awareness can be helpful or informative I need to be conscious.
I would encourage women not to go to a conclusion about it, though. It's kind of like Mark is so convinced that Joe from Phoenix won't admit to wanting Trump gone from the world, but he's just in his imagination about that, similarly, like a woman can sense when a man is off, something is off with the man, but then she'll come to like the craziest conclusions about the man that are totally wrong because she starts listening to thoughts and getting into analyzing and going with the emotions about it, and she'll just be totally wrong.
Right, but she is aware that something is off.
Yeah, she's right that something is off, but that's where it stops.
Yeah, it's better not to get into your head and imagine things.
Yeah. Interesting, kind of.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I guess my main point was just, learning to recognize that, anger it's the most destructive emotion, and it's amazing how many people will default to that,
Yeah. It is very destructive, and a lot of the emotions kind of set you up for anger.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the emotions set you up into getting into all kinds of relationships you shouldn't be in, and types of relationships that the relationships should go crazy, and it's a mess. Or you get all into some life pursuit that life didn't mean for you to start pursuing that, It's not God's will.
I don't know.
You like Obama. I bring up Obama just as an example. Maybe he's good at...
he's a big fan of the show. So.
Right. Obama may be listening. Obama, if you're listening, all these people patting you on the back for, I don't know, being charming, it wasn't meant for you. God didn't necessarily mean for you to be going down this road and becoming the worst president of our lifetimes. Right?
Well, I don't know.
He became successful in a worldly sense. Or let's say Karl Marx. Karl Marx, talented or whatever, accomplished more than Hake. But God didn't mean for him to be pushing devilish Marxist ideology.
Well, how do you know that?
I don't think. I mean, it's devilish. I mean, whatever. But it's not good to be promoting devilish stuff, but he got validated. My point is, you feel validated by others in the world. You get some success and something seems to go right, and you're thinking, oh, this is right for me to do. And it's not.
I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
It's important not to get too caught up in that or get your validation from, a good feeling that you get from people patting you on the back. It's definitely very destructive.
Yeah.
Now, Hake, you still have many years ahead of you. God willing, you may one day accomplish far more than Karl Marx.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Nice. Hopefully not. Okay. Hopefully I don't accomplish what Karl Marx accomplished. Imagine Hake turning into some
ideologue. Well, no, he wasn't
Muslim.
Really an ideologue himself, actually.
Nice.
Just an inventor.
Right. Imagine Hake invents evil things, and it changes the world for the worse.
I don't know. I can't really say. I try not to think too much about it, and I just try to, think that things have happened the way they have for a reason. So
fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, take life as it comes. It's not ours to analyze or judge.
It's all above my comprehension anyway. So. All right. Well, thank you for taking my call.
Yeah. Thanks for calling and holding. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. William in California on the line over here. William, thank you for calling and holding there, man. How you doing?
Thank you for taking my call, James. How you doing?
Doing fine.
Good to hear the young lady. And,
yeah.
Mark and Joe and Phoenix, I can say with all due respect about the both of them without taking any sides. They're very consistent.
True. Stay close to your phone so you come through loud and clear and consistent.
How's that?
That sounds pretty good. Yeah, they are. Yeah, Mark and Joe are both. Mark especially. He's like a locomotive. There's no stopping him on what he's on.
Well, and he's passionate about his belief.
Right. Which is not always good to be passionate like that.
And it's not always bad.
Fair.
Happy Men's History Month to you.
Indeed. It is Men's History Month.
Yep.
Men are history, aren't they? Aren't we?
Yes. Yeah, we're history makers, huh?
Oh, I was thinking that we're goners. Because men are just destroyed now. Like, I don't know if you heard my call with Taka yesterday. He talked about how the Japanese men have become more and more like women, and that's happening in the West.
Yeah,
America.
they're picking up some of the things and habits that we have over here in America, and that's too bad. They're usually pretty tight-knit group.
Yeah. It's a shame.
I have friends that are Japanese. They're very tight-knit group. But let's, for our History Month, the late, great Alfred Gray Jr., General of the United States Marine Corps. I love history myself, too. So he just passed away in March. And he served, I think, from 1950 to 91.
Say the name again?
Alfred Gray.
Alfred Gray. Okay, cool. Alfred M. Gray Jr., Gray.
That's correct.
U.S. Marine Corps 4-star general, served as 29th Commandant of the Marine Corps, or Corps if you're Obama. He called them Corps.
Corps.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I like the Marines, and Rick from I think is a Navy guy. I haven't heard from him in a while.
He just died this year. This Alfred Mason Gray Jr.
Yeah, I think it's back in March.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah. Good man.
Right on. Yeah. Cool, man.
Oh,
I do like hearing from Rick.
I do like hearing from Rick too. Now, I wanted to ask you, since this is a news station, so to speak, information. Is there any word about the police officer that was severely injured in Ferguson, Missouri?
You know what? I haven't seen. I'm just showing Alfred Gray Jr. right now briefly here, but let me start a new tab. Ferguson cop injured protest. Let's see. 1 day ago, he wanted to improve the department from the inside, so says his ex-supervisor. 17 hours ago, Ferguson police released body cam footage showing the protester knocking the officer to the sidewalk. People were like, "Oh, where's the footage?" As if he's critically injured. 3 days ago, what's this say? 2 hours ago, man arrested, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I don't know where it stands for him. It just says that he wanted to improve the department from the inside. This is the cop. Oh, look at this cop.
He's fighting for his life.
Yeah. Improve the department from the inside. And he's a black cop, and some of those black cops can be hit or miss, but look at him. Looks like a nice guy. Looks kind of like O.J. Simpson, which I liked. Tattoo on his arm. Okay, yeah, I don't know.
I hope he's going to be okay. I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
And it's just like that stuff out there in England. You know how England and all these other countries like to follow suit of what we do over here. I hope everybody gets it together out there, because that is a shame what happened to the girls, and it's also a shame the reaction was not good.
Yeah. Right. You're talking about the UK riots and reaction. In reaction, I just chuckled just now because I saw a picture of Mike Brown in his graduation garb. Look at this Mike Brown
Why did
stuff.
they show that picture? Why did he show that picture?
Because,
I don't know why they do that.
Because they want to. Because they used to show the picture, like mugshots, and them looking like thugs, and so they're trying to.
That's like a middle school picture. That's crazy.
No, it might have been his high school graduation, because he had just recently graduated high school.
The one that I remember is that don't look like high school.
Fair point. It might have been his 8th grade graduation. I don't know.
Right.
A lot of 18-year-olds, 17, 18-year-olds look really boyish even when they're tall. So it totally could be. But yeah, he brought that on. Poor Mike Brown, but he brought it on himself, you know. JLP wrote about it.
Not to interrupt you, but no matter how old he was in that picture, I know what the intent is by showing that picture.
Yeah, propaganda.
Because he was not what you're looking at right there. He was not that on that day.
Exactly. Yeah, he was not some scholar or a gentle giant. No. He was beating on Officer Darren Wilson, and 10 years later, they're still crying about it. and hitting police over it.
He tried to take the man's service weapon through the window of the car.
Yep, exactly.
The cruiser.
Yeah.
And
beat up his face.
And there's residue. There was residue on the door.
Yep. No, that young man was evil by that point. And poorly raised by his single mother who was dating another guy who said, burn this beaker down. So.
Yeah, that started everything. And I see you had a super chat that I was looking at. I'm baking a cake again.
Making a cake?
I'm going to bake a cake. Yeah, I'm going to bake a cake.
Wow.
In my kitchen. I usually don't do nothing like that in the kitchen, but...
Cute. Right on, man. Good for you.
I'm baking a cake. I'm opening drawers, finding all kinds of stuff. My girlfriend buys all this stuff from my kitchen because she likes my kitchen better. So then I see all this stuff, but I be acting like they're toys. You know, I be like finding stuff like, what is this? You know, and I'll put it together. But so I'm going to bake a cake. And I got all this stuff, and I'm going to use it. But like back to your super chat, it seemed like somebody is saying, y'all can't talk about us, certain groups.
Oh,
y'all can't. It's always y'all can't, y'all this, y'all that. What about?
Right.
What about the whites? And that's what that super chat. Nothing against the person who wrote it, but it's like, you know, it people can be, you know, talked about and spoke. We can speak to each other about some of these behaviors.
No, I don't know exactly what Popcorn Thumpkeg's point was, but he does try to catch inconsistencies, or he points out and asks about what seem like inconsistencies or logical
I don't know why
things.
People get sensitive about certain groups and say, why are you talking about us? And why it's always talking about us. It's the only subject, but it's the only thing in the news.
I know, and it's an important topic. So.
It's an important topic. It's our current events.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're at it again, huh? All right, the press secretary, the comment you made. Again, this is mildly attractive. Look, dude, that is not our standard. I'm talking about the blacks. That is not our standard.
That's funny.
We'll see how attractive she is if she takes that thing off the top of her head, and you'll see that her forehead goes back to the Great Depression past her ears.
Oh, no, that's her natural hair, man.
No, it is not.
I think it might be.
I keep telling you to go ahead and go to Compton and get you one.
Nice.
You seem to like them.
No, I don't know. Maybe I'm more gracious than the rest of you guys.
Once you take that hair hat off, then tell me how attractive she is. You're talking about the little black one?
Yeah.
The little chimp?
Corinne Jean-Pierre. She's a beautiful young lady.
Yeah, come on, man.
It's just that she's a mess. But anyway, interesting, man. I appreciate it, William. I got to keep it moving. I got to end soon.
All right.
Take care.
Take care of it. All right.
Bye. William in California. Okay, let me tell you briefly, just to remind you, Travis Brown is not related. Travis Brown is the cop who's hurt, I think, fighting for his life as of Monday. Not related to Michael Brown, the black, and they capitalized the B in the word black because this is far-left extremist AP, and they kiss up to blacks ever since George Floyd. 18-year-old who was shot and killed by a white officer, Darren Wilson, during a scuffle on August 9th, 2014. 3 separate investigations found no grounds to prosecute Wilson because he was justified. He resigned in November 2014, even though he was right. And he said he had desist. He resigned after doing his job. Michael Brown's death was a pivotal moment for the evil Black Lives Matter movement of lies based on lies. Hands up, don't shoot, which was a lie, and led to months of often violent protests, riots. It also spurred a U.S. Department of Justice investigation that required anti-discrimination changes to Ferguson policing and the courts. But that Ferguson report by far-left extremist Obama DOJ guy, anti-gun guy, anti-Second Amendment guy, who wanted to brainwash people against guns, Eric Holder was a dishonest police report. He said dishonest things that the report itself, the facts of the report, didn't even bear out. He pretended like, oh, blacks suffered disproportionately even compared to the broader American standards. No, they did not in Ferguson. The Ferguson police, the anti-discrimination changes was anti-white changes, anti-justice changes to Ferguson policing. I argue that it may be even worse now. And the courts. Oh yeah, because blacks are getting charged for not showing up to court. What a mess. If you want to see some interesting fact checks on the Ferguson report, you can check out the Ferguson report on probably the DOJ records. But, and you can see Eric Holder's lying preface to it. But you can read about it in Ferguson Lies and Statistics, a report from this Wall Street Journal guy. And, no, that might have been the New York Post, Dr. John R. Lott Jr., PhD. He showed how that was just so phony. And it was. Anyway, guys, this has been the Hake Report. Rick in Hampton, Virginia. I cannot get to you. He wanted to talk about cackling Kamala Harris. Alas, I don't have, I'm not able to get to the rest of you guys, you callers and super chatters. I got to end. Joel Friday TV is coming up next. So let's see, what can I play? I wanted to play some Starflyer, but I don't think I have time. Lord have mercy. What do I have time for? Oh, Lord. Let's do Lust Control. Jesus washed Judas's feet, or Judas' feet. Why can't you forgive too? Let me show you guys, if you are not seeing this beautiful scenery. Look at this. Beautiful Mount Baldy. Beautiful Mount Baldy. Adios, America. Joel Friday TV is coming up next. This song is actually kind of short. We'll see though. And here it comes. Hang tight. Once again, guys, Joel Friday TV is coming up next. Peace in the Middle East, or at least in your hearts. Adios, America. Bye.
Jesus washed Judas' feet. Jesus washed Judas' feet. Jesus washed Judas' feet. Jesus washed Judas' feet. How could you forgive too? Why can't you forgive too? Why can't you forgive too? Why can't you forgive too? Jesus knew he was the devil from the start. Jesus knew he was the devil from the start. Even when you know your brother's wrong, love your enemies. Love your enemies. Love your enemies. Love your enemies. Discipline enough. Discipline enough. Discipline enough. Discipline enough.
Peace in the Middle East. Joel Friday. Bye, guys.